As I began the process to research a little bit about New Year resolutions, I was very quickly faced with the reality check. That is that within the first 30 days of the new year, over 80% of New Year resolutions will be out the window. So rather than talk about New Year resolutions, I'd like to proceed with the understanding and the belief that any day is a good day to reaffirm and refresh the commitment to ourselves. With that, let's talk about life resolutions and goals. When we embark on a process to set uh, life goals, we're really embarking on a process of change that is intended to derive a result that brings us happiness. So we all know that change is not a linear process, it's not easy. And oftentimes we set those goals and go about accomplishing those goals, but find ourselves halfway with lack of motivation, disconnected from those goals, and finding excuses about why we are unable to achieve them. At that point, I would say let's not beat up ourselves. Might not be that these goals are not exactly what our heart desires, or that they are the wrong, goals to set. It might just be that the timing wasn't right, and it might be that we just didn't follow an effective process of considering those goals and going about accomplishing our goals. So today, I would like to propose 7 steps for setting life goals and getting to the finish line. Very quickly, 7 steps include identification. Second step would be strategizing. Third step would be implementation. Number 4, recalibration. Number 5, getting to the finish line, accomplishing our goals. Number 6, celebrating. And number 7, starting again. So let's talk about identification. What we're talking about is about really finding the what and why. At that point in time, it's really important that we're connected to who we are, our dreams, our aspirations, and our values. And even more important, it is that we envision success, that we envisioning accomplishing those goals, that we envisioning the happiness that we are, that we want to derive from achieving our goals, and basically that we envision success. Step 2 is the step of strategy. At that point in time, we're looking for how, when, and it's important that we prioritize with intention, set a process in motion, and also that we set a number of milestones. Once we have strategized, it's time to implement. And at that point in time, I highly recommend that we consider what steps, what actions we can take each day to get closer to accomplishing those goals. Of course, some goals will take us just a few days to get accomplished, like cleaning our closets. Or it might be a much more long-term goal, such as buying a home. But nonetheless, please consider what you can do today, what steps you might take, short-term, mid-term, long-term. But let's not get lost in the process, and always keep top of mind that today is a good day to take another step towards accomplishing those goals. So now that we have identified, strategized, and begin implementation, we need to be ready to recalibrate and reassess. That's step number 4, because oftentimes along the way we make decisions, or others make decisions that impact the way that we live, our priorities. That could be situation with family, with work, with the external world. And it's extremely important that we are prepared to reassess and basically revise our plan and our execution steps. I want to make sure that when you're faced with this situation, or you know you need to reassess and reorganize, that you don't begin feeling any feeling of you don't feel deflated, you don't feel any feeling of failure, because the reality is that this is a critical and important part of the process of achieving any goal. So now that we have recalibrated, we are at the finish line. We have achieved our goal. It's time to celebrate, but it also is time to start again, because again, the process of setting and achieving life goals and the quest for happiness is a continued process. So at this point in time, I also want to highlight a process that I have used for many years to set my goals and go about achieving them, and that is the process of mind mapping. It is a non-linear process. It's a visual process that basically connects the left and the right hemispheres of our brain, our heart, our mind, our emotions, and our logic, by using a series of words, shapes, colors, all of them directly connected, and assisting our process of brainstorming and implementation. So I have completed the first step of identification through the mind mapping. I personally call my map, I call it my adventure map, my life adventure map. And as I began to think about my graphic, how to begin to put down the ideas and my priorities, I knew that I had to start by with the conviction and understanding that nurturing myself, loving myself, taking care of me is my biggest priority, so that I can show up strong for the rest of the people I love and for the world. So in my map, there's an inner sphere, and in that inner sphere is Pilar. My two biggest priorities are health and happiness. And around health and happiness, I have identified 3 areas for setting goals, and they are mind, body, and soul. So that's the inner sphere. In the outer sphere, I have the people that I love, people in my world, and other priorities. They include family, friends, collaborator, the causes that I care about, productivity, and overall the world. So that is the beginning of my life adventure map using the mind mapping process. You can see it right here. It's only the beginning. And as we all continue to look forward to 2019 and reflect on the lessons of 2018, I will continue to reflect on the biggest lesson of the year for me, and that is being fearless. I look forward to continuing this conversation with you all. I look forward to hearing any other ideas that you have about setting and achieving goals. What's on your mind? What are your aspirations? Big goal for me for next year is the launching of my retreat experience a project called Renovat. Many of you already know about that. And I'm excited about it, and hope that these conversations and maybe joining us on a trip around the world might be maybe one of the goals that you set for next year. So again, Happy New Year from my family to yours, and I look forward to connecting next Sunday, January 6th.